Ms. Lee of Pennsylvania is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll start by stating what I think is the obvious, which is that if we want to safeguard students' privacy, we can start by keeping the agency responsible for students' privacy intact. The Department of Education holds states and districts accountable to the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, or FERPA, and the Protection of Pupil Rights Amendment, or PRA. If other agencies are administering the Department of Education's programs, students and families may lose those protections. The next obvious point I'd make is that parents already have rights. The National Parent-Teacher Association was created in 1897. Parents had rights before all children even had access or the right to a public education. PPRA already gives parents and guardians the right to inspect instructional materials used in their students' curriculum. FERPA already guarantees parents and guardians access to their children's educational records. So this is essentially a bad solution in search of a problem. But by successfully galvanizing parents behind this idea that they don't have right, Republicans can rebrand pre-existing education access and transparency obligations, including those that have been mandated by FERPA and PPRA since the 70s, as a new parental right. And Republicans are weaponizing these so-called new parental rights to target transgender students, suppress inclusive curriculum, ban books, and fearmonger about indoctrination from teachers who can barely afford rent and still use their own money to pay for school supplies for their students. Hearings like this one elevate the hateful and baseless demands of a small set of parents while ignoring the very real needs of parents who have legitimate concerns about their children's privacy. In 2025, the privacy risks facing students include things like students being profiled by discriminatory artificial intelligence algorithms or large-scale data collection by for-profit education technology contractors. There are countless for-profit education technology companies lobbying schools to implement their surveillance systems. These systems compile sensitive details about students' lives using biased AI tools like facial recognition and so-called behavioral aggression detection. They monitor students' devices, chat messages, social media, and geolocation. And those with access to this vast amount of student data can use it to surveil, to censor, to punish, and criminalize children. And ad tech companies not only have access to the sensitive data, but they can profit off of it. I request unanimous consent for a report by the Pennsylvania Advisory Committee to the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights titled "The Rising Use of Artificial Intelligence in K-12 Education" to be entered into the record.
Without objection.
Thank you. This report highlights a FERPA loophole where for-profit education technology companies who contract with schools can be deemed school officials and are granted access to sensitive student data with no real oversight. Mr. Vinsky, in your testimony, you talked about the loopholes that permit the monetization of student data. Can you tell us what Congress can do to close these loopholes and address actual concerns about protecting students' privacy?
Thank you for the question, Representative. The threat posed by technology in the classroom can bring, of course, benefits, but it risks to student privacy as well. And there are a number of steps that Congress or the Department of Education can take immediately to address this. One is ensuring that two key definitions in FERPA are broadly construed, that is education records and personally identifiable information. But the key here is to make sure that this law from 1974 is very clearly extended to modern digital records, whether it be the metadata that ed tech platforms collect on students as they're using the services, or things like emails regarding students. There's additional measures that can be used as well, such as passing a federal version of a law known as SOPIPA, which guarantees that education technology platforms do not sell or monetize student data. So there are a number of avenues available.
Thank you. So by focusing on parents' rights to access student data that they already have a right to access, Republicans are shifting the narrative away from ad tech companies profiting from students' data without their consent. In addition to closing loopholes, we have to protect students from biased AI that exacerbates the school-to-prison pipelines. We can start by passing the AI Civil Rights Act that I introduced yesterday with Senator Markey and Congresswomen Clark and Presley and several other colleagues. Among many other safeguards, this bill will prohibit ad tech companies from selling schools biased algorithms that inform consequential actions like suspensions or expulsions or referrals to law enforcement. As technology advances, we need to ensure children's safety is at the forefront. And I mean safety from actual harm, not from a book that has characters reflecting the diversity in America or makes a student think critically about our country's past. I would love to see our committee discuss some of those. With that, I yield back.
And thank you, Representative, for supporting the AI Civil Rights Act.
Thank the gentlelady, and I wish